from the FBN Capital third annual investor conference with the theme Tomorrow's Nigeria Through Economic Empowerment. CNBC Africa's Didi Akinyelure spoke to the Minister of Trade and Investment, Olusegun Aganga, and began by discussing Nigeria's ranking as the #1 investment destination in Africa. Take a look.
Today, Nigeria is the #1 destination for investment in Africa, and that's the second year running. And that's not Nigeria's statistics, that's based on ONTAG's report, the last report. The last report also identified Nigeria as the fourth in terms of return on investment, as the fourth highest globally. And investors, money follows money. Investors are looking for returns, and at 35% average return on investment, that's much higher than average of 7% globally. But we know that for us to stay in the market, for us to deliver what we want to do, which is inclusive growth and create and focus on value addition, we have to be competitive. That is why the Industrial Revolution Plan, which we have started implementing with the first two policies on sugarcane to sugar, auto value chain policy, focuses on areas what will improve our competitiveness. And 7 items have been identified: affordable finance and what we're doing there. The second is the issue of power. Power today contributes about 30 to 40% of the cost of production in this country. Bring that down, address down, you're fine. What have we done? Of course, for the first time in the history of this country, well, first time in 53 years, this government has successfully privatized the power assets we have in the country. The good news, yes, the good news is that they've privatized. The good news is that we have a new policy driving privatization, meaning we expect to see the same growth we saw in telecom and power going forward. But what is more important is that we have created a conducive environment for investors to come and invest in the sector, and we expect to see that growth, significant growth in the next few years. Now, what this does include the fact that we have a bulk trader who is there standing between the generators and the distributors, buying power from them, and of course doing the distribution. We have competitive tariffs for the sector. We do have a strong regulator, and we have all the necessary ingredients that will make that work. Now, again, the other thing you need to look at is about infrastructure in terms of logistics, trade, roads. Of course, the other areas we need to look at is skills. For us to be competitive, they need to be able to produce their costs. They need to be able to produce their goods cheaper to be competitive. These are the factors that will drive competitiveness. And today, we are reforming ITF, working with SINA in Brazil, and UNIDO to make sure we have a skills survey every year that will tell us what we need in a country and make sure that our education system focuses on what the economy needs, and the ITF training focuses on that as well. Of course, standard is number 4. The next one is investment climate, overall investment climate. That is why we have just recently completed with OECD, they've just completed a review of the investment climate, benchmarking it with the international best practice using their PFI framework. And we've identified some gaps there we are going to work on. That is why we have reviewed all the laws relating to investment in the country. We're taking that to the National Assembly. That's why we have set up the National Competitiveness Council of Nigeria, driven by the private sector, supported by federal government, to make sure that private sector also play a big role in that exercise. So you're right to talk about competitiveness, but and again, the good news is that that is a big focus of the federal government of Nigeria.
Now, the country's goal to attract $30 billion worth of investment per annum. What is being done to meet that target?
There are a number of things you have to do. Already, Nigeria is the #1 destination for investment in Africa, and that's for a very good reason. We have a very strong, robust macroeconomic environment today. We have the raw materials, we have the market, we have most things going for the country. We have a very low, one of the lowest in the world today of debt to GDP ratio. And it's one country, one environment where you have high growth, high return. So we have all the basic fundamentals that are going to drive investment. The next thing that are going to drive investment will be government policies and reforms. So today, for example, if you look at the policy in the power sector, for example, because we have privatized the power sector, have a strong regulator in there, have a power purchaser in there, have commercial tariffs, we are beginning to attract investments not only into power generation, but across the value chain So you've seen, if you look at commitments today, we have at least 4 major partners who want to work with us. The China Power, for example, want to work with Nigeria to generate about 20,000 megawatts of power. Electrobras is thinking about 10,000 megawatts of power. G is thinking about another 10,000 megawatts of power. If you look at the value chain, you can see G is investing in the production and assembly of transformers in the country. We have other investors coming into the transmission aspect of it. So that is going to drive a lot of investment. If you look at the sugar cane to sugar policy that has just come in, it's all about value addition. Today, that's attracted close to about $2 billion. We expect to see far much more there. If you look at the last policy on the auto policy, which is across the value chain in automobile, again, the policy was announced on the 2nd of October. On the 9th of October, Nissan announced that it was coming to Nigeria to invest in the auto sector, partnering with a local assembler, manufacturer. We're talking to other big OEMs that are looking, and today, as of now, carrying out their due diligence. So it's all about policies in labor-intensive sector, because we're looking for not just growth, not just investments, we're looking for investments in labor-intensive sectors of the economy, so that the quality of growth will be exactly what we're looking for.
One of the things you mentioned in your speech is affordable finance. So give us some more insight into what's been done about that.
We all know, for us to increase our productivity or our competitiveness, there are a number of steps we need to take, which government is fully aware, from precedent down. And one of the areas we need to address is the area of having affordable finance. The opportunities in the country are huge. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of money to be made in the country, a lot of money to be. As Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, I see these opportunities every day, and it's there. Now, there are a number of things that are holding us behind, but there are 2 major things that are important. One is power, and government is already addressing the issue of power. The second is about, again, to do with infrastructure. The second is to do with skills, acquiring the right skill set. We're addressing that as well. And the third one, not in order of importance, is having access to affordable finance.